Hello, my Teaserking family. Sorry, bad internet. Can't explain it. But I know after a few minutes we're cooked, so I have to come back in and turn off my computer, and hopefully that works. Anyway, I was in the middle of pros. Let's start from the top. Denver, Oakland. I haven't graded it because we still got today's game, and I'll grade it. But Denver's an A team, and Oakland's been a Z team. However, with Brock Bowers, they're probably more maybe an E team or a W team. I got Denver -7, Indy -4 with Atlanta with Penix, much better team. You've got to watch these injuries. It changes the variables. I'm going to make one comment. You're trying to predict what's going to happen. And, so you can't go 100% in this, right? I hope you understand that. I guess a few people don't. And you just, how do you predict the games? Well, you look at certain things. Mine's rating the teams and the quarterbacks and the injuries and things like that. And you're trying to pick the games. And I'm very successful at it for 50 years. So if you find somebody better, my pleasure. Go do that if he's going to make you money. So that's all I can say. I don't really want to be insulted here. Jacksonville, Houston. I got Houston -4 to Jacksonville. The killer defense. I'm not sure if CJ Stroud. Let's try to look on the news and see if it says that CJ Stroud get hurt. Jaden Daniels, Tucker Kraft, and more. Tucker Kraft, tight end from the Packers, is hurt. It's over. Matt LaFleur, what an idiot that guy is. Jalen Daniels, elbow. CJ Stroud, concussion. Stroud took a big hit to the head in the first half and didn't return. He'll likely land a concussion protocol and would be in danger of missing week 10 versus the Jaguars. So now we have to look at that. Aaron Jones, Vikings, is a shoulder. Boutte for New England is my LSU receiver, hamstring. So I'm not sure when he'll be back. Stroud, Daniels, Brock Purdy, his toe. Well, he's been out. Kyler Murray's out. He's been out anyway. DeAndre Swift with the Bears. Stevenson, Patriots. Hampton, Chargers. Aaron Jones, Vikings. Pacheco didn't play. Wide receiver, A.J. Brown, Garrett Wilson, McLaurin, Pukanuka. I thought he played. Paris O'Brien, Thomas with the Jaguars ankle. Travis Hunter was IR'd. Golden of the Packers, Rivley of the Titans, Cooper Kupp, well, he's always injured. Godwin, Boutte. So we'll check more into the injuries. I wondered if Stroud, it was just a concussion. Again, probably running instead of throwing the ball. These guys keep getting injured. Some idiot above's vacuuming. So bear with me on the noise. I can't control it. And this is normally our time. All right. New Orleans, Carolina. Carolina is probably a little bit better than New Orleans, not a lot. Game's in Carolina, so I'm going to say Carolina -4. Tampa Bay, New England. I think Tampa Bay is the better team. I don't think it's really close. They had the bye yesterday, so we'll see if they get any of the receivers back or anybody. New England, they're going to go on the road to Tampa. They're not going to win. We like New England -4 or Tampa -4. Cleveland goes to the Jets. The Jets, terrible team. Cleveland, terrible team, better defense. I got Cleveland -3 on the road. We'll see. Baltimore, Minnesota. I got Baltimore -4 now that Lamar's back. McCarthy, looked okay. Let's see how strong Baltimore's defense is and how good the Minnesota defense will do against Baltimore. They should do pretty well. Van Ginkel's the key there. The Giants and the Bears. The Bears, pretty good offensively, not defensively. The Giants, dart, okay, no Scatterboo. I got the Bears -4 because they're at home. Seattle and Arizona, I got Seattle -7. They're playing very good ball. Darnold's playing very well, although he will choke in the big games, but this is not a big game. Seattle -7. Detroit goes to Washington. This spread is from yesterday, 3, but without Daniels, we're going to make it a 7. Because of that. And without Daniels, they got Moriarty, and he stinks. And Detroit, now they're off of a loss. Their offensive line, this one guard's out. If Washington can stop the run, but I don't think they can. Look for Detroit to bounce back here. LA goes to the Niners. LA should be favored. I think the Niners will be a 3-point favorite. But the Rams are a live dog. If we get the Rams as a dog, that'll be the free play. Pitt goes to San Diego. San Diego -4. They don't have the defense they used to. Neither of them do. This is probably an over game, but I like San Diego -4 mostly because they're at home. And then I think this is the Monday night game. Would be Philadelphia at Green Bay. They couldn't beat Carolina. They still got an idiot coach who wants to go for it on 4th down. Philly, we'll see if Jalen Carter's heel is finally better off of their bye. So Philly, I got 3 over Green Bay. We will see. Again, we're making the pick using assumptions based on injuries, based on teams needing it, like the Lions off of a loss. KC's off of a loss, but they're not playing next week. So all we can do, how else are you going to pick it? Well, we grade the team. We look at the injuries, who needs the game off of a loss, and just who's the better team, which we can see with our own eyes, who's good and who's bad. All right. That's my line. Now let's go to the real line. Okay, Denver, 9.5, 42. I expect that to come down because Brock Bowers is back and they played better. Indy, 5.5, 48.5. We got Houston, 138, and we got a question mark with Stroud. If he gets through concussion. Without him, you got to go to Davis Mills. That's why the over-under is 38. Carolina, 5.5, 40. We have Carolina -4. Hard to bet Carolina to win with Steve Young. I mean, he's so bad. But New Orleans going with Shaw. I mean, who is he? Tampa, 2.5, 48.5. Against New England. Cleveland and the Jets. The Jets are 237.5. Now, again, I have Cleveland favored because they're really the better team with Myles Garrett. Jets don't have anybody like that. The Jets with Fields and Cleveland with Gabriel. I mean, I think Cleveland's actually probably a live dog there just because who can the Jets beat? Baltimore 3.5 and 48. We had them at 4. You're betting Lamar. Now, that's a Lamar line. Oh, everybody's going to bet Baltimore because of Lamar. Although I don't know. Minnesota just handed Detroit, so this is a very close game. Buffalo, 9.5, 50. I had 10. I'll leave it at 10. So dead on there. Buffalo, kill them. What's New England? Let's see. New England 7-2, Buffalo 6-2. So the key here is Buffalo is not leading their division. They have to win. Miami sucks. Look for them to kill. See, that's the reasons you're betting it, right? The Giants and the Bears. The Bears 3.5, 40.5. I have 4. I'll leave it at 4. 48. The Bears seem to be scoring, winning a lot of these against these weak teams. Detroit beat them by 50. So, Mini beat them. I don't think they played Green Bay yet. Here they get the weak Giants without Scatterboo. See, a lot of it's the timing. They don't have Scatterboo. If they had Scatterboo, you'd be all over the Giants. Seattle 7, 45.5. That's exactly what I have is 7. 45.5. They're a much better team. Detroit, Washington, Detroit -8 again, and 50.5. The thing with Detroit is I don't think they were like a fake game, like a paid off game. I think they just sucked. That's the problem with Detroit. They don't, they're not going to be on the take. They're too stupid. Detroit 8, Washington without Daniels, forget about it. Mariota, yeah. The Rams 3.5, 49.5. So the Rams are the 3-point favorite. I thought they would be. We wanted the Rams as the dog here. So the Niners did beat them the first time in LA. So it's interesting. Pitt goes to San Diego. San Diego 3. I had 4, 44.5. Pitt's probably a live dog here just because they're in Rodgers and they beat Indy and their defense was better. And I don't think San Diego's defense is all that. And Green Bay, oh my God, Green Bay is 345 to Philly. So right away, there's our live dog in Philly. We got Pitt as a live dog. Detroit, Seattle, Buffalo. But Buffalo, you got to lay 10. Baltimore Mini's probably a live dog. Cleveland's a live dog. Tampa, Carolina, New Orleans. Both teams suck. Houston, Jacksonville. Now here's where you get the problem. You're waiting for Stroud. They got the good defense. Atlanta and Indy, again with Penix. This is in London. Yeah, that's thrilling. Or maybe it's in Germany. I don't know. It's a 9:00 game. And Oakland, Denver. Denver, the play, but Brock Bowers is back. So it really skews a lot of the stuff because you have games without Brock Bowers and then you have games with Brock Bowers, and they're two different teams. And that's all you can do. You have two different teams. It's amazing how bad Washington is. They get to the championship game last year. This year they suck. So if we go through the teams, you've got Denver very good. Atlanta not too bad with Penix. Indy, I don't know why they're so much better with Daniel Jones. I mean, and he doesn't really do much. It's these quick passes, these short passes, and Taylor running in a decent defense, but not great. They got a new coach from Philadelphia, I think. Jacksonville, Houston. Houston is struggling. It's all defense there. The coach is lost. You've got C.J. Stroud. The problem is you get a C.J. Stroud and you think he's good, and he's not. That was like Florida State. Their problem, their quarterback sucks. And they've lost 5 in a row, and they finally won Saturday. It's all dependent on the quarterback. That's how the team wins and loses. And you got a bad quarterback. It don't matter what you have, you're going to lose. Even if you have a good defense, you might lose close, but you got a bad quarterback. So it all comes down to quarterback play. Jacksonville, Trevor Lawrence is terrible. New Orleans, you're going with Shaw or whoever. And here comes Carolina with Steve Young. I mean, terrible quarterback play. New England, Drake May, I'm not buying. Tampa Bay, the Bakers, very good. So they're a top team. Cleveland, the Jets, what can you say? Neither Gabriel's playing well. And then the Jets with Fields. I mean, what can you do with that? Pretty pathetic. And you're making Cleveland the dog in this game. So you're saying the Jets can beat somebody, which they can't. Baltimore gets Lamar back. J.J. McCarthy didn't do much yesterday, but they beat the Lions at home, so you can't ignore Minnesota. Buffalo will destroy Miami. Tags, terrible. Look for Buffalo to have to win to play good. The Giants and the Bears, you got the Giants, Dart, the Bears scoring more. Still the weak defense. They're average team now. Arizona is not playing up to expectations. Seattle looks like the real deal there. It's going to be Seattle and the Rams for that. And they both are very good teams this year. Detroit, major disappointment, 3 losses. They're not that good. They lost to 3 good defensive teams who shut their run down, and the offensive coordinator was unable to play action pass. So Golf had to go right back, and he can't. He's not a drop back passer. They only are good because they fool you with the play action and the misdirection. But if you can't run, you can't do any of that. And so they've 3 times couldn't run. Well, that's the playoffs. You're not going to be able to run in the playoffs. Golf's going to have to fade back, and he can't. This is Golf's weakness, why the Rams let him go. He's not that good. Yeah, anybody can play action, and I fake the handoff, and I twirl the other way. Anybody can do that. I mean, even J.J. McCarthy could do that, as he did that yesterday. Doesn't make him good. So the Lions, a major disappointment, well overrated. Washington, terrible this year, no defense. The Rams, very good this year. The 49ers, they've been hurt. They're pretty good, but not great. Pittsburgh, I don't know. Rodgers is doing fast. It's not Aaron Rodgers' fault. The defense sucks. So it played better yesterday against Indy, but still. San Diego, their defense sucks this year. Philadelphia, they're living on the Super Bowl, so they are very inconsistent. They did beat Kansas City on a fluke because Kelsey's worried about his girlfriend. And then Green Bay. How do you lose at home to Carolina? Are you kidding me? So I don't like the coach of Green Bay. I don't like Love. These coaches that let's go for it on 4th down crap. You lost the game because you went for it on 4th down instead of kicking your field goals. You did that in Oakland. You did that in Green Bay. You did that in Detroit. It's a very simple game. The team that scores the most wins. And if you have a team like Green Bay, if you have coaches that want to keep going on 4th down and not getting the win, you're in big trouble. And that's what they have. So that's next week's pros. Tonight we got Arizona, Dallas. And that's it. So a good week, 8-2. 2 of the 3 locks win. The big lock wins, 25-unit lock. Mississippi State over with Kansas City over. And that's it. Let's look at the pros at college. Let's just look at the big games. Now I have normal lines. I don't make my own line. There's too many games right now. South Florida 14-68 against UTSA. UTSA is not scoring like they normally do. Houston and UCF. UCF's a major disappointment. Houston is a major disappointment. Houston 1.5, 47.5. Tulane, Memphis 7-55. Memphis is playing very well, and Tulane also. USC, this is Friday night. USC 14-51 to Northwestern. Northwestern does not score much. It's at USC. They did barely beat Nebraska. And see, this is where you get screwed. Okay, the Nebraska quarterback breaks his leg. They still only win by 4, but they stopped throwing the ball. It turned into a run game, and you're not expecting that from USC. You're expecting them to throw. Now we know Nebraska's got a good defense, but so does Notre Dame, and they played a 60-point game with Notre Dame. So there's really, you can't read that they're going to switch. They're an explosive offensive team that decided not to. And Nebraska's a pretty explosive team. But I think when the quarterback broke his leg, I think that changed the scope of the game. Our Southern Miss 6 to Arkansas State. Indiana 14-50 against Penn State. How good or bad are Penn State? They played Ohio State. Ohio State kept throwing long passes on them. But it was the fumble just before half that killed our under. The guy's down, he stopped, and then they pulled the ball out, and the refs called it a fumble when it was clearly down, momentum had stopped. But that's what happens, unfortunately. Let's see. SMU goes to BC after beating Miami. They're 12.5, 55. Interesting game. Georgia, Old Mississippi State. Georgia 7-57. Mississippi State has an offense, as we see, not much defense. BYU goes to Texas Tech in the game of the week. Texas Tech is 10.5, 52. Now, these are last night's line. I'm not going to go through every game now. I will go through it later. Texas Tech, great game. BYU, very strong team. Beat Utah, 10.5, total of 52. Morton, Texas Tech, very good defense, very good running. BYU with a very good defense. This is a very good game here. Ohio State 28-49 to Purdue. Purdue's not that bad. Ohio State is getting to the point they win every game by at least 15 to 20 points. Here's the Penn State game, and they beat them pretty good. Win by 20, 28. The game's at Purdue. Can Purdue win? No chance. Can Purdue score? Maybe they'll get a little bit of points with the new quarterback and coach, but I don't see much. The total of 49 is kind of low. You got to really see it. Bunch of AAC games. Duke 8.5, 66 to Connecticut. As we saw, Duke's a better dog because they score a lot. They have a really strong offense. The team with a really strong offense that we didn't really notice was San Jose State. I did a poll, and all of a sudden they're the leading passing team in the country. Iowa State, TCU 6.5, 50, I think 58. Iowa State very weak this year for some reason. Kansas goes to Arizona. Arizona 6.56. Kansas, usually a live dog there. Oregon 6.44 to Iowa. Oregon, pretty good team. I don't love their quarterback. Iowa's played Indiana a pretty strong game at home. They're good. Oregon went to Penn State and won when Penn State had a team. A&M 6-49 to Missouri. A&M explosive. Missouri, this line really surprises me because Missouri's quarterback broke his leg. He's out. Now you got the backup. Well, how good can he be if he didn't beat the other guy? Missouri with a fairly good defense. I got to fill in the numbers, but I think A&M here is only because Missouri. If Missouri had their quarterback, I'd like Missouri, but without him, and he's broken leg, so he ain't coming. A&M, we'll see. Missouri's still with a good team. Miami of Florida, 28-46 to Syracuse, who's lost their quarterback and stinks. It's all the injuries. You've got to keep your eye on the quarterback. If he's out, it's a whole different team, whole different dynamic. Auburn, Vandy. Vandy fired their coach. Vandy 7.5 with Dagiel off of a loss, 46 at home. It'll be tough. Auburn's got a fairly good defense. Washington 11 over Wisconsin and 45 at Wisconsin. Washington, a very good team. Wisconsin, decent defense, not much offense. Here you go. San Jose State 4.5, 66 against the Air Force. And San Jose State's a very good offensive team. What was the score last? They beat Hawaii 45-38. So not much of a defense. And Air Force can score, but Air Force's defense sucks. Could be an overplay. I got to study. Louisville 18-50 over Cal at Louisville, so Cal's got to do the traveling. See, now the Miami one doesn't look as good because Miami lost again to SMU, and you're like, oh, all right. Virginia, Wake Forest, Virginia 6-48. Virginia with a really good quarterback, Morris. Wake just got killed by Florida State. I wonder how good Wake is. Clemson, Florida State, which should have been a good game, is not. Clemson 3-55. I seriously don't think Clemson can beat anybody. And Florida State, Clemson did lose the game to Duke. Duke won 46. They went for 2 and got the 2 and won. I don't know. Clemson, Florida State running quarterback. Clemson's quarterback sucks. We thought he was good, but he's not. Notre Dame, Navy, they play every year. Notre Dame kills them, even though Navy's got a really good team this year. Notre Dame barely beat Boston College. I don't know what happened there. They weren't looking ahead to Navy, I don't believe. Alabama, LSU. Alabama 10.5, 49. LSU coach got fired. So you lost the Auburn coach. You lost the LSU coach. This is just really strange. All these coaches that are pretty good. Brian Kelly was a good coach. I'm shocked you'd fire him in the middle of the year. But he doesn't have a quarterback. Florida State doesn't have a quarterback. Auburn doesn't really have a quarterback. These are the teams that struggle with the running quarterbacks. Florida State, running quarterback, they stink. Here you got Auburn, LSU. Well, LSU, their quarterback isn't good. Auburn wants to run. So these teams with the running quarterbacks, they don't realize they're not good. You win if the quarterback can't throw. The defenses are too good, too fast, that you can beat them throwing the ball to Chase and Jefferson, but you can't beat them. Your quarterback's dancing around and running. It's not going to work, as Lamar can testify. So Alabama 10.5, 49 at home. Yep. Florida, Kentucky. Florida 3.5, 45. Kentucky's just kind of weak. Florida ain't nothing to talk about either. Their coach is fired also. Utah State 10.5, 52 to Nevada. Nevada's pretty bad. Here you go. Here's a good game. UCLA, Nebraska, but the quarterback Raiola broke his leg in the game with USC. So you want to know why we lost the lock, USC over? Well, the quarterback broke his leg on Nebraska, so now we're not getting the points needed to get over. But everybody stayed healthy for Old Mississippi State and Arkansas, and it went over. Everybody stayed healthy, KC Buffalo, and it went over. So, I mean, it happens. That's why it's not 100% proof. These guys get injured, and you can't say. It just happens. It's part of the football. That's why we just bet enough, but not too much, because you got to hope nobody gets hurt, and then you can go. And if nobody gets hurt, this is what should happen. Again, we're amplifying what should happen, but we don't know what's really going to happen. UCLA 3-44 to Nebraska with a backup quarterback. UCLA's playing fabulous since they brought in their offensive coordinator, although they did get wiped out by Indiana, but so does everybody else. And that's it. San Diego State, 5.5 over Hawaii and 51 in Hawaii. Hawaii is decent this year. San Diego State is an A team this year. They're playing really strong ball. And we'll see, but they're really good. So's Hawaii. It's at Hawaii. We'll see. So it's almost just like, oh, let's bet Alabama, Ohio State, Indiana, Texas Tech, Ole Miss, Mississippi State over. I mean, it's almost like just getting into patterns there. But it's not that easy, of course. So that's next week's college. Tomorrow, we got 2 games, which I've already rated. Ohio 3.5, 50 against Miami on a Tuesday. Miami an E team, 21 defense. Ohio a B team, 24 defense. So Ohio's a little bit better. Akron and UMass. UMass, the Z team with the 35 defense, and Akron is not any better. A W team with a 29 defense. Akron's laying 10 and 50. So that's tomorrow's games. Wednesday's games, Toledo, 14-41 to Northern Illinois. Toledo, the A team, Northern Illinois is a good team, good under team. And then Ball State, 346. They're both Z teams, Ball State and Kent. Kent gives up 36. Ball State gives up 30. So you've got UMass, Akron. You got Kent, Ball State. It's Z against Z. What do you do with it? So that's your Wednesday games. Thursday, South Florida, 14-68 to UTSA. App State, 6.5, 62 to Georgia Southern. Friday, Houston, 1.5, 47 to UCF. Memphis, 7, 55 to Tulane. USC, 14, 51 to Northwestern at USC. And then we got all the Saturday games that I gave you. But this way you can prepare. Now, I can't see betting anything tomorrow or, maybe Toledo, but Northern Illinois is pretty good. And then on Thursday, maybe South Florida. And then Friday, I don't know. USC, you can think about, I can't bet it over. Northwestern doesn't score. And they got a pretty good defense. So it's really a wash for USC. And who knows if they're going to run or pass anymore. They're changing up. So had a 9-6 record. So I've gone, my lad, I went 16-4, 13-3, and then 9-6 last week. It happens. It's the matchups. It's teams. Notre Dame goes to BC and doesn't cover. When they win, they've been blown out every team by 50 points. So that's my point. What should happen doesn't always happen. But we understand that. We bet accordingly. That's why you bet a couple hundred a game. You don't bet 10,000 a game. And that's what's happening. So that's college. We went through Mark McGuire yesterday. Let's see what our friend Gold's doing. And again, it's paper gold. And again, physical is 10 times the price. So in a paper price, gold is 4,006. So you can see at 10 o'clock, it jumped all the way down to about 39.98, and then it's up to 4,006, and it's dancing up and down. Silver, the same thing, 48.40. It's a perfect time to buy silver before it hits 500. And gold's going to 10,000. Now, it's not tomorrow, but it's going there. It's like taking a flight and you're flying to Germany. Well, it takes 8-9 hours to get there, not 10 minutes. And that's what people tend to look at. Well, when's it going? Well, we don't know the exact time of it, but we know that's where it's headed because we know this is bankrupt. So if this is worthless, you have to get into gold and silver. That's your only ask, but you're buying physical. But there is no physical price of gold and silver. It's not, there's no place where you can get a physical price on gold and silver. You can get a paper price on COMEX in the COMEX games. 4,007 is the paper price of gold and silver, of gold, and 48.41 is the paper price of silver, but the physical price is much higher. But apparently nobody knows that but us. And it's just funny. It's amazing how stupid people are. Again, this guy's emailing me talking about everything's a lie. Not me, but everything's government lies to us. And I'm like, we know that. He misses, I don't know if he just started watching me or what, but we know that. We know it's all lies. That's what I'm pointing out. I'm pointing out COMEX is paper, not physical. We know that. We know the stock market's fixed. We know all of that. We're not surprised by it. We understand that's the game. The banks are the bad guys. They're screwing everybody. We get that. We understand it. Right. So I don't know, when I get new students, you just shake your head going, what is this guy? Let's see, do we have any videos? So we saw LeBron, his FBI's got him, probably going to jail for fixing. We saw Mark McGuire pretty much. Let's see this one, Bitcoin underperforming.
It's also very interesting that at this juncture, Bitcoin is not performing.
Yeah, exactly.
Very, very weak. And they must be extremely disappointed about the relative performance between gold and Bitcoin.
Yeah, no, a very fair comment. I must admit, someone's been listening to Jamie Dimon and Co, because the response really over the last week was phenomenal. I have never seen anything like it. Just the drive towards buying precious metals. And so many of the bullion dealerships here in Australia have sold out of all their stock. We've been fortunate enough. I mean, we've had a record month to date, volume-wise, but we've still been able to retain enough stock to keep supply going. Perth Mint just said today, no stock. Silver, no stock. It's just, at the moment, as I said, never seen anything like the demand for physical gold and silver as we are experiencing right now.
And there is a disconnect.
Okay, so what do we learn from that? High demand, low supply, they're sold out. What do you think is going to happen to the price? It goes up. However, this price is a paper price. It's an option price. It's a COMEX price. But in the real world, the physical is sold out. So there's a huge disconnect between what the real price of the physical is and this bullshit paper price. And it's not a lie. We understand it's bullshit. So what do you think is going to happen? Well, the physical gold and silver will go up dramatically, because if you came to me and wanted to buy an ounce of silver at $50, I'd laugh at you. No. Make it 500 and I'll sell it, which means I'm not going to sell it at the price it's at. I think it's worth more. I think it's worth $1,000 an ounce physical. So I'm not going to sell it at 50, and I'm not going to sell it at 100. I'm not probably going to sell it at 500 unless there's a reason to, and that's only selling a few ounces. So with that, you then base, just using your own logic, shit, it's a hell of a lot higher than it appears because COMEX is keeping it down. Now, the question is why COMEX is keeping it down. I have no idea. It's these speculators who I asked Mark McGuire. He says it's the speculators keeping the price down. Well, who the hell are the speculators? Are they the bullion banks? Or are they some other banks? Are they pensions? I mean, who the fuck are these people? And why are they so stupid to short something that everything's sold out? And that's not there. Pat tells us in Singapore, it's a 6-hour line to go to the gold store, and they got a ton of gold stores. 6-hour wait to go buy coins or bars or jewelry. So this is Hong Kong or Singapore. This is Australia. These huge lines. Not at my store. My store's not open today. I'll go tomorrow and just see if there's a 6-hour line, which I know there isn't. My store doesn't. Here in Detroit, these people are idiots. You could tell them until the cows come home, get rid of your dollar, but they won't. See, here, the mentality is people work and they get a 401k match in stocks. And so they get, I get 5% match. So I automatically make 5% on my worthless crap. And so they won't sell it. Well, it's my retirement. It's not worth anything, but they won't believe you. We're the reserve currency. We're the dollar. Oh, it's Trump. Well, no. And this is the problem. So this one guy, we know they're lies. We are calling the lies out. We're not stupid here. We are calling the lies out, and we're calling how to protect yourself. That's what this class is about. Football and economics. Okay. It's a class I'm teaching. And, if I do, I don't make a lot of jokes. If I do, it just goes with it. But the point of the class is dead serious. It's go buy your gold and silver. The COMEX price sucks and isn't real. That's what the basic of the class is. We're calling the lies out of COMEX. We understand that. That's what we're doing. And the government printing and stay away from stable coins, stay away from Bitcoin. It's not real. Anybody that argues with Bitcoin, okay, show me what a Bitcoin looks like. You're so convinced on Bitcoin, show me what a Bitcoin looks like. Well, Howard, I really can't because it's not real, but they don't want to admit it. Well, it's worth $100,000. It's not worth anything. If you can get your $100,000 out, fine. If you bought it at $5 and now it's worth $100,000, good for you. Get your money out. You can't. Well, you can't get it out right now. I mean, this is the bullshit of it. So we understand that, and we're in our own little world with gold and silver, happily protected. Nobody can fuck us over like Attack on Wall Street, where the $60,000 the guy has turns to zero because they default the real estate trust. And so we understand that. And that's the point of it. Let's see. So Bitcoin's underperforming. There was something else that I wanted to share. Here's one. Okay. This is us thinking out of the box. And I want to share this with you because the people in Vegas, the people in Vegas apparently can't think out of the box. In other words, if they raise prices and if the market's here and Vegas starts making things really expensive, so nobody goes. You're over market. I only want to pay $30 for the ribs. I'm not going to pay $45. And so you realize if you mark the ribs $45, the restaurant closes. And if you do mark that $45, the restaurant's going to close. I need to find a new job. I better go look at the other restaurants or something else to work in, whatever I'm skilled at, to get out of it. So all these people in Vegas are clueless. Everything's very expensive. That's why nobody's showing up. Well, they're going to start laying people off because the problem with these idiots in Vegas, they think they can just raise the price to make more profits. So if I charge a resort fee and a parking fee and that, our profits will go up. No, because you're not going to have anybody paying it. It's too high. The market does not allow that. No, you want to charge me $40? Fuck off. I'm not going to pay it. I'll park somewhere else. Instead of paying you 40, I'll go park at the CVS or at Denny's or wherever. I'll go park a mile off the strip and walk. My friend went to the Raider game yesterday and he parks, about 20 minutes away in some place he knows because he lives there, and he goes there. And that's the difference, right? He knows where to go there, but he avoids the $40-$50 parking at the stadium. He knows a place he can get hot dogs and pop cheaper at the stadium. I guess there's one of the windows is like for seniors, and it's $4 for a hot dog instead of 20, but you got to know all the ins and outs. So he knows all this. But at the end of the day, if you're over market, you're going to not make money. You're going to lay off people because you're not making money. So you got to see all that. As what I say on the Titanic, if the boat hits the iceberg, go to the lifeboat because it's going to sink. And then you're going to need a lifeboat. But instead of waiting, you go right to the lifeboat. The dollar's crashing. We go right to gold and silver. We've been in gold and silver for 5 years now. We bought it when it was cheap and we could get it. Now it's not cheap and you can't find it. Australia, they don't have any at the stores. Singapore, they got very little at the stores, and you got a 6-hour wait. That's coming here, and that's the point. You've got to get in now. Well, I'll get in later. Well, if you can find it, and who knows what the price is going to be. So that's why you just get in it. You get into the gold, physical, gold and silver now while you can. And so where does it get you to Vegas? These people are surprised they laid them off. Why? Why would you be surprised? You see nobody coming to the strip because the prices are too. So as soon as the prices are too high, the resort fee and $30 hamburgers and nobody's coming, it's the same as the Titanic hitting the iceberg. It's going to sink and you need to get to a lifeboat. If you're working at these places, it's sinking and you got to get a new job. But you got to be thinking ahead of the curve. You can't wait till they lay you off. You got to do it going, oh, I'm going to be laid off. I better get out. I know it was either Ford or GM just laid off like 2,000 people after laying off a bunch before. Well, you add tariffs and you add the heavy inflation or money printing and the cars nobody can afford and the high interest rates. Yeah, you better look for a new job before Ford and GM lays you off, which is what happens. So that's what's going on. So this is about 800 MGM managers just became, well, not homeless overnight, but a $1.5 billion gamble backfired on Vegas. Now, if they knew Austrian economics, they would have known it would have backfired from the beginning. Why? Here's your market. You want to add resort fees, you want to add parking, you want to high expensive liquor, expensive food. Wait a minute. You can't go over market. So if you're going over market, you know what's going to happen. Who are you going to sell to? There's nobody to sell. So a $1.5 billion gamble wasn't a gamble. It was idiotic. It was idiots. Backfire on Vegas. It didn't backfire. They don't know what they're doing. Had they known Austrian economics and they would have known their market, they never would have done it because there's nobody to buy. Once you get up here and the customers are down here, and I give you the example with the Toyota, when I get my oil changed, the sales manager's crying to me, well, we made our Camrys 35,000. I bought mine at 25. 35,000. I can't sell any. Well, I go, because you're over market. And I did this. I says, market's 25 grand. You're up here. Who are you selling to? There's nobody home. So he lowered it to 26 after talking to me, and then he starts selling a little bit more. And that's the key to it. You have to identify your market, and that's what you're selling to. That's it, period. You cannot, a $1.5 billion gamble was not a gamble at all. You lost. As soon as you did it, you lost. It's not a gamble. You're going to lose because you have no market for these higher prices. Oh, well, we thought we'd raise the prices and we'd make more money. But you know that's not going to happen. You know you're not going to get. So in other words, when the movies did it and they marked the tickets from $5 to $10, they go, yeah, we're going to lose customers, but we should get enough to make more money with the higher ticket price. Well, that's ridiculous. You didn't, because you make a lot of money on concessions, popcorn, candy, pop, hot dogs. You're kicking those people out, which is what Vegas is doing. They're kicking out the people who play the slot machines, who just go and eat and shop there and maybe play some blackjack. You're kicking them all out because they don't even want to come in with the stupid parking. So as soon as you do that, your traffic's down, and it's all the other thing, and then nobody gets tips, and your hotel's half full. This thinking is retarded. The people from Wall Street who did this are retards. They don't know what they're doing. They're not seeing the whole thing. Well, we'll raise all these costs and we'll make record profits. Bullshit, you will. Nobody, that's what a market is. I'll pay $30 for this tennis shoe, and if you make it $100, I'm not going to pay for it. Oh, but it's a Michael Jordan. Well, I don't really give a fuck. I can't afford $100 for a tennis shoe. That's the point. And it's not lies, it's stupidity, and we understand the difference. So I don't know who this guy is emailing me, but I'm like, who are you, and what are you trying to say? He talks like in riddles. Maybe he's the Riddler, and he talks in riddles, and I'm going, what is the point of this email? I don't care that he emails me. Make a point. Why? What do you want to know? What are you asking me? Otherwise, ask the comments, and then I can answer and try to figure out what you're talking about. All right. Let's watch this a little
now
bit.
is laying off thousands of people here in the Valley. Those people now permanently out of a job.
It's a total transformation for one of the Las Vegas Strip's biggest employers. MGM Resorts International announced Thursday that more than 500 positions are being eliminated.
You know, when you're laid off and if you don't have a warning, it's like you don't know what your next step is. You don't know what to do next.
MGM Resorts has cut about 800 middle managers in less than a week, which includes supervision, management, and senior management. A seemingly move restructures the strategy, but exposes the dark side of the modern business model, where people are treated like numbers that can be erased with just an administrative decision.
Okay, why does this surprise anybody? You know that's what's going to happen when you raise prices. You don't have a market for it. Of course, this is what's going to happen. So you got to be thinking 5 steps ahead, as we do. And you got to get out of it and go find a job that's not at MGM. I'm sure Caesars is next, and whatever other properties, if they all have these resort fees and the parking and the high liquor and food prices, the bad gambling odds, of course, who's going to go? I can go gamble downtown at MGM. I don't bet on the football there because their odds are 13-10 on a teaser. So I say, fuck off. Now, as far as poker, okay, I can play poker there because you can't really screw me in poker. I'm not playing the house. I'm playing the other people. I don't play craps there. And the problem also is that all the games are like $25, $50. Well, fuck off. I don't play. I want to play streaks. So I want to play $10 blackjack or $10 baccarat and let a streak happen. But if you're charging me $25, you're making it too expensive for me to wait for my streak, and I'm not sitting there to lose $500. I'd rather buy silver and gold with that, where I have no risk in the portfolio. But here, you got to be an idiot to not see what's happening and then cry about it. Oh, I don't know what. Geez, you knew about it a year ago that they were fucking over everybody, and it's empty, and eventually they're going to lay off because it's empty. And don't tell me, I see some of these videos, well, they did it on purpose. They didn't do it on purpose. They didn't know what they were doing. They were idiots. They were Keynesians. That's what they were doing.
Those who once played a role in maintaining the operations of one of the world's largest casino hotel groups have now become direct victims of a $1.5 billion gamble that MGM management set out to set the ambition of upgrading Vegas to the global luxury of.
These 3 states just quietly pulled off something the rest of the country hasn't. I don't know how Michigan, Missouri, and
upgrading Vegas to the global luxury of. But when revenue didn't rise as expected and investments poured into infrastructure, artificial intelligence and automation didn't yield immediate results.
Wait a minute. So you thought revenue would go up because you raised costs? What world are we living in economics that works? You can only raise cost if the market's there. If you can do it in gold because the demand for gold's huge. You can do it in silver, but the market's actually dictating the higher price because of all the demand. Do you have demand here in Vegas? No. There's no demand there. Nobody wants to go. It's empty. Titus went there a couple of Saturdays ago. He said it was empty. There was nobody there. So at what point do you see this demand saying, oh, I don't care what you charge me, I'm coming to Vegas, because with this huge, with this price increases, there's no demand for that. Say's law, the market is here. You can charge this. If you start charging here, you think you're going to get more revenue? You think these people are going to go up? Fuck no, that's not what happens. In gold, it happens because the demand for gold's here and the price is down here. So you can keep raising the price because people want it. Everybody wants gold and silver. There is no price. They're willing to pay anything to get it. And that's the difference. Now, that's not what's happening in Vegas. They are not saying, oh, well, they're like, oh, nah, I'm not paying this. I'm not going to go to Vegas. It's too expensive. And so you're killing the people. You're killing the goose laying the golden egg because you want to make the prices higher. And at what point do you think that's going to help your revenue and your income? Because you're not going to lose customers. Who the fuck is running these places? What morons are doing that? Unbelievable.
Human became the first cost to be cut. Behind the bright lights and slogan, Vegas has never slept, are hundreds of managers who have lost their jobs, their homes, and their trust in the system they once contributed to. And perhaps right now, Las Vegas is showing the world. The cruelest gamble does not take place in casinos, but takes place right in closed meeting rooms where human value is exchanged for profit. In today's video, we'll find out why MGM's $1.5 billion gamble backfired, which left thousands of workers homeless after just a few days.
Well, we just said because they raised cost over market. It's very simple if you understand Austrian economics. You can only charge what the market's willing to pay. And if you're over it, you want to charge $40 for ribs and the market's only willing to pay 30, guess what? You're not gonna sell any because there's no market for it. You can't create the market. Say's law, supply creates demand. Where's supply? I'm willing to pay for my Canadian club. I'm willing to pay $50 for it. That's what I'm the market. That's what I'm telling you I'll pay. If you market 75, I'm not going to pay it. You're not going to sell it. You're going to lay off people. But it's very obvious. You can only charge what I'm willing to pay. You have to understand what I'm going to pay for it. And if you don't understand that, you shouldn't be in business because you have no fucking idea.
Is this a signal that the Vegas dream is entering a real decline? Join us in finding the answer now.
We already know the answer.
Bookmaker always wins. That's a sentence that anyone who sets foot in Las Vegas knows by heart. But ironically, in the middle of a city made up of cards and promises, MGM, one of the most powerful bookmakers strip, is gradually losing to the gamble he set. MGM Resorts. International has long been considered the heart of Vegas, controlling nearly a third of all strip hotel rooms. After the pandemic, when the whole world was still recovering, MGM chose to make a big bet. investing more than 1.5 billion USD to upgrade facilities, reconstruct the lavish image and repositioning Mandalay Bay, Luxor and MGM Grand, 3 gems that once made the brand. The goal is clear: to re-engage international visitors and bring Vegas back to its heyday, but in a more luxurious, exclusive version. However, that plan was implemented at a time when the travel habits of Americans and the whole world had changed. From the beginning of 2025, Las Vegas began to fall into an unprecedented decline cycle. The number of visitors to the city decreased by nearly 1 million people compared to the same period last year. The hotel occupancy rate dropped from 89% to about 85%. And the shortened stay of
This delivery girl was surprised when she saw a sign at one of the houses where she was dropping off an order.
from 89% to about 85%. And the shortened stay of signals customer hesitation. No more long vacations, no more endless games that once fed the entire local economy. Before that change, MGM chose to rotate the card, focusing on the wealthier class, who were willing to spend a lot to offset the decline in visitors. The company increased the price of a series of non-casino services, cuisine, entertainment, resort amenities, with the belief that higher class will bring in higher revenue.
The market's the market. There is no two markets. There's no whale market and the rest of us market. It's included in the market. If they're going to pay this much, this includes whales, right? And if you're going to raise the price here, the whales aren't going to pay either. The whales aren't stupid. Just because they have more money doesn't mean they're going to be idiots and just go ahead and pay it. You think just because you're a whale, you want to pay $50 for parking or these exorbitant resort fees, or they want free drinks and lobster and steak for $5 at 2:00, just like the rest of us. I mean, just because you have more money doesn't mean you're an idiot, and it doesn't mean, I'm gonna start spending it. I don't care if the costs are higher. Bullshit, they do care. It doesn't matter. I mean, think about it. When you were a kid and now you're maybe making more money, you've got a degree and you make more. Your habits are the same. You don't want to get fucked over, and you don't want to get bullshitted. So to think that I can raise the price in the whales, how many whales do you think go there? Whales aren't idiots. They don't want to lose millions of dollars at bullshit blackjack or craps tables. Maybe they do on football or poker, but you don't have the edge there. Your football odds have went up, so I'll find a cheaper one. But poker is poker. All you get is the rake. Okay, $4, maybe you take $5 out of every hand. Whip-de-do. It doesn't affect me. I'm playing for hundreds, or some of these guys playing for thousands. They don't care about the rake. But what are you talking about? The whales aren't idiots. Oh, God.
But that move pushed millions of Vegas's soulful middle-class customers for decades
And
off
whales.
the table. Now, Vegas is no longer a destination anyone can dream of. A cup of Starbucks coffee in the Venetian area costs $9.50 USD. 2 slices of pizza and 2 cans of Coke cost up to $52 USD. And a quick lunch also exceeds $50 USD. A local side. Who would have believed that a night in Vegas now amounts to $600, even $700?
I'm sorry, who's paying $50 for 2 slices of pizza and a Coke? Where are they coming up with this shit? Really? You get 2 slices of pizza and 2 Cokes, $50? And you wonder why nobody's there? People, I don't care if you're a whale, you're not going to pay $50 for 2 pizzas and a Coke, 2 Cokes. And this is the point they miss. The market's the market. Oh, we'll get what? How many whales do you think you're having there? Thousands of whales? No, there is not thousands of whales. There might be 5 or 10, and they're not. They don't want to get ripped. Not only do they not want to get, they want to get it comped. They don't want to pay anything. I've been watching Las Vegas with James Caan, and it's nice to see all the lights and everything else. But it's the same thing. the whales are bitching, I'm not paying for this room. I'm supposed to be comped. So they don't want to pay anything at all. I mean, they're whales. They might gamble, but if you make the odds bad, they're not going to come to gamble there. They'll go somewhere else to gamble because they're there to play blackjack or craps or whatever they're there to play. So no, this whole idea of the way they're just, these people are out of their fucking minds. They have no idea what they're doing. Who came up with this brilliant idea to clear Vegas out? I had one thought that's fifth dimensional that I just thought of, that the Chinese are behind it. So they went to Vanguard and BlackRock and let's raise the prices. What's going to happen? They're all going broke, right? So MGM, Caesars, all goes broke. Here come the Chinese to buy them up for pennies on the dollar. And now they own Las Vegas and they bought it for $20. They bought the MGM or Caesars. That, I think, could be what really is going on here, because these guys can't be this stupid to fuck up the no-brainer, the goose laying the golden egg, let's kill the goose. Nobody is this stupid. So I think you watch, let's see if the Chinese buy these properties dirt cheap, pennies on the dollar. Just thinking fifth dimensionally, it's what I do.
The statement sounds exaggerated, but it's a reality. Even international visitors who were once Vegas's gold mine are gradually leaving. Visitors from Asia and Canada fell more than 13%, partly because of rising travel costs, partly because...
How many people from Canada were coming? And Canada's broke. Their dollar's worthless. I don't buy this, oh, Canada's not coming to Vegas. The U.S. people aren't coming to Vegas. There's a lot more us than Canadians, the Canadian geese coming to Vegas. Bullshit. And in Asia, they're going to Macau. They don't come to Vegas. Why would they travel all this way when they can go to Macau and gamble? Come on.
Visa procedures are complicated and cost around $1,150 for a family of 4. Markets that once brought in billions of dollars.
If you're currently using or planning to use any
Every time I pause, I get the fucking commercials.
Your car listed here.
Markets that once brought in billions of dollars in revenue are now quiet, leaving resorts large but empty. Even as room rates have fallen to pre-pandemic levels, many resorts remain quietly partially closed or only operate on weekends to save costs. In June 2025, Las Vegas lost another 400,000 visitors, or an 11% decrease from the previous year, marking the 6th consecutive month of tourism decline. And then, that wave hit MGM, the center of the entire Vegas ecosystem. The report for the second quarter of 2025 recorded a 4% decrease in net revenue, equivalent to about $80 million, while operating costs increased sharply due to upgrade categories, escalating energy prices, and personnel pressure. The hotel corridors are now unusually quiet. The casinos are still open. The lights are still on, but the playing floor is empty. Vegas still glows on billboards, but in reality, it's a city struggling to find its breath. Compared to Caesars, MGM has not yet fallen into a full-blown crisis, but the cracks are clear. It's not just about incentives, promotions, or marketing strategies. The core issue lies in trust. The belief that the price shown is the actual price paid, that the experience will be worth every penny spent. When that belief shook, not only was revenue lost, but the soul of the city also began to fade. And then, the real price of this gamble is not on the balance sheet. It lies with people working in the shadows of neon lights, from bellmen, cleaning staff, to shift managers, who are taking the first and deepest consequences of a gamble played with other people's money. When MGM tried to keep the glory of the city from sleeping, the same people who used to wake it up every day were the ones left behind. The decline in tourists not only makes the casino floor sparsely populated or restaurants empty, it's creeping into every payroll, every labor contract, every roof. Hundreds of middle management positions eliminated in the personnel restructuring program. Thousands of employees had their hours cut, their income reduced, or fell unemployed. Within just 1 week, about 800 middle managers at MGM resorts in Las Vegas were cut. The information spread quickly through local channels and social networks, describing the scene as in a losing game. Departments were consolidated. Supervisors and senior managers were forced to compete directly for the position little left. Phrases like restructuring or realignment used in internal announcements may sound reasonable and technocratic, but everyone understands them as mild expressions for cuts designed to preserve EBITDA rates, a cold financial indicator, but it determines the livelihoods of hundreds of families. It is worth mentioning that this is no longer the story of seasonal or low-level employees like the pandemic era. This time, it is the operating buffer layer, that the middlemen between the executive board and the front line are being dangerously thinned. When that padding is lost, the entire service system, which operates smoothly, begins to lose elasticity. The rest have to take on more work, longer shifts, while customers begin to notice the difference in every little detail. The table hasn't been set yet, the food is late, or the employee's smile is no longer the same as before. The broader context makes things even more shaky. Las Vegas tourism slowed down significantly, especially on midweek days, a time that helped maintain stable revenue. Casino revenue declines, profit margins are squeezed, and cost pressures force businesses to lean force, which they consider non-essential.
You can be offended all you want, but if you're over 50 and ignoring your $25,000 state-backed burial benefit,
which they consider non-essential. Question asked in hotel industry forums: are the slowdown in tourism and poor profits forcing businesses to sacrifice people to keep their numbers? No one outside of MGM can confirm that, but there is an undeniable...
Well, it's obvious. How stupid are these guys? Hey, Ron Royce. I effed up by using Detroit in 2 of my teasers. Yeah, but you didn't. I mean, you couldn't have saw that coming with J.J. McCarthy. It's one of those games, and it's just shocking. The over USC, in the USC game, the Nebraska quarterback broke his leg, which you can't see either. It was just weird. But Detroit hurt, but who the hell are blaming you? I got one idiot blaming me. Who blamed you the other 7 weeks when we hit on most bets? Relax, people. Yeah, one guy, he wants to do payments. And I really hate that. And I said, well, I'll buy the year, but I'll give you 200, 200, 200. So he gives me the first 200. His third 200's up November 1st. I go, where's the money? Well, you're costing me money. He's the same idiot that came on and said, oh, I lost on one of the games. And I said, well, didn't you win on the lock? I think it was Oklahoma under with USC against Notre Dame. I go, didn't you win that game? But he doesn't want to bring that up. But he wants to tell me I'm costing him money, but he's been with me for 5 years. This is so the other 4 years I wasn't costing him money. I just had the last month has been red hot. And, do you think I'm going 100%? Do you think nobody gets hurt in the games? Do you think, and I'm sitting there and all these, and he won't pay, but he's done this to me before. So I told him, you're cut off. You buy, fine. Don't ask me for any payment plans. Well, I can't afford $750. And then he comes out and says, oh, I lost 600 on the bet. What do you mean? You lost 600. You can't afford 200. You got to give me $200 installments. So, I don't mind helping my friends, but are you fucking kidding me? So really, that's what it is. Do you not understand that I'm forecasting the future, and I do it very, very well, but I can't be 100%. What part of that do you not understand? And it just blows my mind when people, and I think he's just fucking around to try to get out of paying. I lost a bet. Oh, yeah, really? Like, oh, was I supposed to go 100%? Are you this stupid that you thought I was going to go 100%? Anyway, thank you, Ron. I appreciate it. Well, that's why you play your bankroll. You bet it. according to the bankroll, maybe a couple $100 a game. And if you lose, okay. And then we get them next week. Next week there's games. So, and then, how JJ McCarthy beat the Lions at home. What are you going to do? Am I supposed to read that? How can you possibly read that? Actually, it was Minnesota's defense that stopped the Lions from running. And that's why I question the Lions' offensive and defensive coordinators are in over their head. Thank you, Ron. I appreciate that. You've got to understand the basis of it. That's why you money manage. That's why you have a bankroll, and you don't let one game beat you. I have a friend in Vegas, and he plays with me, and he says, "You give me the game, it wins or loses." I mean, he's not thinking I'm going 100%. He says, "I get the game, I bet it. It loses. Oh well, it wins. Great." I gave him the Raiders yesterday. I didn't play the Raiders, but he was going to the game. And I said, with Brock Bowers, and I think I said it in class yesterday, it'll open up Gentry. And he caught 3 touchdowns. And I said, yeah, keep your eye with Bowers. They're a better team in Jacksonville winning on the road. And so he bet on Oakland, even though I didn't play it. I thought about playing it, but I didn't. But, okay, we lost Minnesota, but until the night game, I was 8-1. We hit the Rams under, we hit San Diego and the under, we hit Denver, we hit Buffalo, KC over, which was the big 25-unit lock, Mississippi State with the over in the Buffalo game. So I didn't cost you money there. And going 8-1 yesterday, I don't think I cost you money there. Yeah, we had Detroit in a few teasers, but what are you going to do? How are you not going to play Detroit -2? It's like playing the Buffalo KC game. How are you not playing it over? And it wins because Mahomes is Mahomes. Anyway, well, I'm going to have very good weeks. And occasionally, not that I even had a bad week. I was 8-1. I was 9-4 in college, I think. What was I in college? College, I was 9-6. I had kind of a bad college week, although that's still better than 50%. And a lot of them I put, like I had US, I had Notre Dame with another loser, like Georgia Tech or something. So my losers were together, but we hit the big lock. Yes, we lost the Ohio State. Ohio State goes over with Penn State? Jesus. The teams had a bad week. The teams didn't play according to the Ohio State always is under, didn't go under. USC always goes over. Raiola breaks his leg in the game. If he doesn't break his leg, the game goes over because they'll score, and then USC scores, and they score, and that's the type of game you get. But when he breaks his leg, USC's just sitting on the lead, and Nebraska couldn't move the ball because they got a freshman in. Well, you can't bet that. You assume that's not going to happen. We did play the over in the Utah-Cincy game. That I told you was a gut feel. The play was under. But I knew Cincinnati plays high scoring games, and Utah, once they get rolling on you, you're going to roll. And so I switched that to an over, and I won. And then I hit the Georgia game, and I hit a lot of games. Obviously I had Ole Miss. I had the Oklahoma, Tennessee over. So, I hit them, but I didn't lock them. And it's really strange how I choose the lock, and then the other games I really like, I don't lock, and it frustrates me. But, they'll have a better week. But that's the point. You just play every week. We're going to win more weeks than not, obviously. But even that, the 25-unit lock won. So you can't, it probably was a break-even week instead of us winning money. But this week, we learned from it. Nebraska's quarterback's out, and C.J. Stroud had a concussion, which helped us because we had Denver. The Lions, we got to be careful. Minnesota, we got to be careful. So, you still learn. As I say, I look at why I lost and why I won every play. So I understand why I lost Detroit, because their offensive and defensive coordinators suck. And they can't handle a good defense because all they do is run. In golf, they put pressure on them. Where was that in the championship game last year? I don't know. When they were playing for the 1 seed, but that's the point. So the Lions, now we all know, look who they lost to. Green Bay with a great defense, KC with a great defense, and now Minnesota, who has a great defense. So it doesn't matter who the quarterback is. If they're playing good defenses. So they got to play Green Bay again with Micah Parsons, Minnesota again. I'm not going to get fucked on those. Fool me once because J.J. McCarthy, but you're not fooling me twice, as you know. Anyway, this whole Vegas thing, it's strictly economics, if I go buy ribs and they're $25, $30, I'll pay for it. But if you raise it to 45 and I'm working there, I got my resume out. I know that restaurant's going to fail if they move their price up to $45 for ribs. As soon as they do that, I know it's out, right? We know it's out. Gold and silver, we have huge demand. We know the price isn't real, so we just keep buying it because the real price is 10 times more than this paper bullshit. So we understand the game's paper. So it's the only thing that's really reversed. The demand's used, but the price is low. And so you just keep buying it and buying it and buying it. Eventually, the price will catch up to demand, as it is in Australia and Singapore, where the demand's through the roof. They don't even have any more in Australia. And in Singapore, Pat says it's a 6-hour wait to buy. You got a line to buy. Why isn't the price going up? So it ain't going to last. This COMEX bullshit is not going to last much more. China won't let it. And that's where we're at. But thanks, Ron. I do appreciate the realization of what I do is very, very difficult, and I do it very, very well. And, it just, when I start hearing excuses like that, he just doesn't want to pay. And, okay, so I'm never giving you a discount again. If you want to buy, but don't ask for 200. I'm trying to help you, but if you're going to fuck me over, the contract was you owe me $750 for the year and how you choose to pay. So you're voiding the contract. He doesn't seem to understand that. I says, you still owe me $350 because I'm giving you each month as if you're paying the $750, and that'll never happen again. So don't fuck me over. I'm the golden goose. I'm feeding you. I'm making you money, and you're going to fuck me over. All right. So Vegas, the reason is they're too expensive. Nobody wants to go. You got massive inflation. You got a recession going on. People losing their job. The value of the money is declining. It takes more at the grocery store, and you want to fucking raise room rates and parking and liquor and food in Vegas and screw with the gambling, and you think people will just keep coming, or we'll just get the whales. We'll lose all the people. Yeah, you lose all the people, you lose all the shopping, you lose all the eating. What is wrong with you guys? Like I said, probably China behind it. When they do go bankrupt, China will buy it for pennies on the dollar. That's what I think is happening, because nobody can be this stupid and run casinos and you can't fuck with Vegas. How can you ruin Vegas? Only a moron can do it. So that's what I got. Anyway, thank you, Ron. I appreciate it.
Bible truth. 800 real people, many with decades of experience, lost their jobs in just a few days. Reactions on local social media were a mixed wave of shock and anxiety. A widely spread comment read, "My heart goes out to everyone working in hospitality right now. This is worrisome." And indeed, low is the most accurate word. Because if even the class considered the most stable, managers who once ran a team of hundreds of VU, people are still cut, then the low-income labor group has almost no safe zone left. In just 1 month, the Las Vegas area lost more than 4,300 jobs, mostly in accommodations, food and construction, according to data from DETR. The local press described this as a clear signal of widespread, leveling off not just by MGM, but by the city as a whole. And as a chain whirl, as the operators leave, the stayer has to take on a larger share of the work, while guest experience declines, making the midweek arrivals even harder to fill. The 2020 president
What arrivals? There's nobody
like a
there.
ghost. When the pandemic caused Vegas to freeze, MGM cut more than 18,000 employees after the furlough period.
Michigan homeowners, if your house was built before 2019, I want to buy your house, right?
After the furlough period. Many people who survived that time now fall into a similar situation, carrying the feeling of firing, recruiting, again, and then firing again like a recurring nightmare. And this time, that fear is not just a memory, it is becoming a reality. Because risk factors are converging. Tourist bridges changing axes, junk fees make tourists cautious, and the number of international visitors has not returned as expected. In conversations outside the cafe, people are no longer talking about room price, but about service quality. A signal that trust is shaking, not only with visitors, but also with the very people who have been with this industry for life. At the deeper end, every lean decision isn't just a financial order line. It's a family story, a mortgage coming due,
Yeah,
an
yeah,
unpaid
yeah.
medical bill.
Again, you got to see it coming. You can't be idiots. You know, if I was working at the rib place and they raised it to 45, the next day I would have my resume out because I know it can't work. You can't make the prices over market. Just like I told the Toyota guy, he raised the Camry to 35. And I actually did this to him. I said, here's the market, 25, and here's your price. Who are you selling it to? And you should have saw the look on his eye. This is the same guy I tell get out of Bitcoin and buy gold. And now he's finally bought the gold. But they do listen to me in the gold, but they still hold their Bitcoin. They're still, well, it's up. I got 40,000 in Bitcoin. Well, take it. What are you waiting for? Gold's going up by the day. What are you doing? Well, he didn't play with me last week, Ron. It was the week before, and then he was supposed to buy this week was supposed to be November's payment, and he didn't pay it. I think he's watching, trying to pick up tips of who to play, but he doesn't know who the locks or the plays are. I go through every game. I'm not playing every game. But yeah, I mean, he lost, and did he expect not to ever have a losing game? Oh, I lost on this game. Yeah, well, okay. But but he didn't mention the lock that we had. It was the week that Oklahoma under with the USC Notre Dame game. That was a big lock. It won. But he did mention it. Oh, I lost on this game. Well, that's your fault. I can't make the picks for you, the bets for you. I can tell you the picks. It's up to you to figure out what to do. But don't cry about this game here when I gave you a lock. Which one? So, that's all you can do. I won't let him back unless he pays for the rest of the season. He's not coming. I'm not going to, I don't play that way, right? I play fair. I play honest. We made a deal. Okay, you're going to pay me payments and it'll equal to $750. Don't fuck with me on the third payment. You're not going to pay. Well, then fuck off. I don't need you. I don't need people like that. I don't want to be associated with people like that. I want to be associated with winners, honest people, nice people, not chuckleheads who lose and then cry and don't pay and don't go with their contract. So, if I get any other person that, I can't, I had another guy who comes on once in a while and he cries about, this and that. And he goes and buys a Rolex card or a Rolex watch, $20,000. So you're bitching at me for a couple $100 and you buy a $20,000 Rolex, which I probably won for you, and no tip. I mean, what is that? You make a guy 10 grand and there's no tip. It just blows my mind. People are just so left field. I mean, look, I'm not asking for a tip, but if I make you 10 grand, it'd be nice. Feed the golden goose. So people don't get how hard it is to pick and consistently win, which I do. And it just blows my mind. Anyway, thank you, Ron. I appreciate it. But yeah, he lost, but he knows I go 3 out of 4 weeks we're going to win. So you'll get your money back out of the loss. But again, the lock, if you bet the lock, you would have won the money back anyway. Anyway, so you have to understand market. Here's the market for anything, whiskey or tennis shoes or glasses or phones. This is what the market's willing to pay. You can't make an exception. Well, the whales will pay more. No, they won't. They're part of the market. When you have a market, ribs are $30. That includes whales, right? That includes everybody that comes into your restaurant and is willing to pay $30 for ribs. You mark that up to 45. Do you think the whales are going to pay 45? Hell no. The whales are smart people too. They don't, just because they have money doesn't mean they're going to spend more. If the market's 30, that's the market. That's why businesses go out of business, because they think the whales are going to pay more. And the whales are just like us. They're not going to. Look at Bobby. Bobby is very price conscious. He won't pay more. He doesn't agree with the resort fees or the higher parking fees. In Vegas, he's not going to pay it. He's a whale. He gets $1 million a year. Well, it's not real money. It's US dollars, but hopefully when he gets it, he buys gold and silver with it, as he's instructed to by me. I told him to get out of it. And he said he contacted the Mets and they wouldn't give him gold. I says, well, when you get the checks, just go buy gold with it. It's the best you can do. I don't know if they can pay him in gold, but he can go switch it to gold. Anyway, that's the way the markets work. So Vegas, I don't want to feel sorry for the guy that lost their job. If you knew what you were doing, you would have gotten a new job outside of the whole casino business, because knowing all of MGM's in trouble, as is Caesars, the Venetian, everyone. If you have no customers and you work in a store, we work in an ice cream store. Nobody comes in to buy our ice cream. How long are we going to be in business? If you don't have revenue, you can't pay your expenses. Vegas is empty. Every casino, if you're there and if you're if you have a store in the forum shops and Caesars and there's nobody buying and coming to the casino, you're fucking them too. They're going out of business because there's no customers coming into Caesars to go shopping. People aren't strolling in and paying $40 for parking at Caesars to go to the forum shops. They'll be closed too. It's a shame. These idiots who are running these casinos, trying to make more money, but not understanding that what they're doing is actually going to bankrupt them, not make them more money. And you see it everywhere. McDonald's wants to shoot their price up, or Wendy's, or whatever. My friend was telling me a story about Wendy's. He says, if you're a senior citizen, if you buy a keychain, you get the ice cream for like free. It costs $3 and you get the free. And it's ingenious because it's not about the ice cream. It's you go in to get the whatever the Wendy's call it, the ice cream. You're going to probably get a double and fries or baked potato or chili. You're going to go get a meal and then get your little ice cream. So what they're doing is getting you in by giving you this little tiny ice cream, Frosty, I think it's called. So it was very ingenious of Wendy's. And he goes, I go get a free Frosty. And I'm like, well, I'm sure you're buying burgers and fries when you go there. So they're actually getting you to spend. So that's a very good promotion Wendy's is doing. And he thinks, I'm a senior. I'm getting it I'm getting this little half a mini for free. Yeah, okay. Go to the grocery store and you can get a big half gallon of ice cream for $2. Anyway, very good. But that's why Vegas is going out. One reason only: your cost is over market. And this is why 99% of the companies go out, because they are over market. Once you don't understand that, you don't understand what your market is and what they're willing to pay. And that's it. It's like Teaserking. I could, should I raise my price? Let's do 500 for the week. Yeah, I wouldn't get any customers, right? I get some at the prices I charge, but if I raise my price, I'll make more money. I won't make any money because the market isn't there. I don't have a market. So I must realize my market and go accordingly. It's as simple as that. If I'm selling shoes, The gold guys, I mean, they don't understand their market at all. If I go to my gold store tomorrow and and his silver is $2 over spot, so it's $50 for the silver, he doesn't understand his market at all. Your market will pay you $500 for the ounce of silver, and you're letting it go for $50. It's the only reverse market I've ever seen where the price is being held down by the options, and yet they're marking it. They're below market on their thing. Oh, we'll keep the price down. So the government sounds like the same idiots who run Vegas. Oh, we'll keep the price of gold and silver down. And all that's done is allow bricks to buy it hand over fist, and people like us to go in, get the sale of the century by buying it extremely cheap. And then, and so, we're doing very well with your cheap gold and silver prices as they go to reality. But people think that it's gone up too much and they're shorting it. That's what we're running into now. I don't know where they're getting it from. They don't understand anything at all. They're clearly not finance people or economic people. If you did, you'd realize the true price of gold is $20,000. So going from 3,500 to 4 to 43 is not overbought. They're still way, way underbought because COMEX is price fixing it. So they don't understand the game, but it's so much higher than this. Anyway, what can I say? So we'll see what's going on. I'm trying to plan a trip to meet Daria finally in January. We'll see. That would be early January. My friend says, well, she's not even meeting you at Christmas. I go, yeah, that is Christmas. In Russia, they celebrate Christmas January 7th. So that would be during her Christmas. So we'll got to see. And then I got to get a visa. So that's the pain in the ass going to Russia. You need a visa. But we will see. Keep your health. Watch your sugars. Again, castor oil is growing my hair. With coconut oil. Castor oil is very good for sore muscles, legs, and arms. Celtic salt, cayenne pepper, eat all the healthy stuff. Onions on my feet, got rid of my nasal infection. It blew my mind. I'm watching our woman doctor, and she says, slice up onions. And so I put 2 onions on each foot, and I wore my socks to bed, and my nasal hacking stopped. Go explain it. It's something with the onions and something with the bottom of your foot. It's very, very sensitive. And if you put the onions on, it'll go through into your body and clean out. It's a defense mechanism, but it cleaned me out and it got rid of my infection without taking penicillin and amoxicillin and all that shit. I couldn't believe it. But that's what they do. So these holistic doctors are great. And a lot of it is herbs and spices, and cinnamon and honey is very good. And onions apparently are good. So keep in mind, keep healthy with that. We got Thanksgiving coming up. Good luck there. Enjoy that. I don't know. I mean, before I would travel to Vegas for Thanksgiving and then bet football because it'd be football Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. But now that you've ruined Vegas, I would not take it very well. $50 for a hamburger? Go fuck yourself. I'd be eating every meal at CVS, eating salads and honeydew and cantaloupe probably. So no real reason to go to Vegas. And these airlines are just as stupid. Oh, you want to bring clothes? Oh, well, that's going to cost you $50 to bring a carry-on bag, a little carry-on bag, so you can carry on some clothes. Are you insane? That's supposed to be part of the ticket. So then the airlines wonder why they're going broke. Now, if I do go to Europe, you usually can bring your carry-on bag and the little gym bag, which I do. If I go to Europe. I don't know what I'm planning right now, but I wouldn't mind going, but we'll see. But otherwise than that, it's Thanksgiving coming up, Christmas, New Year's will be here before we know it. And the thing with football, every week just keep now it's the next week. It's it's week 11 in college and week 10, and we know the teams pretty well. It's all the matchups. Do we have good matchups to play or not? And that's really where it comes. I don't have bad weeks. I get bad matchups. Detroit Mini was a good matchup, but it just didn't win. Baltimore Miami was a great matchup when Lamar playing one easy. The Oakland KC over or the KC Buffalo over was a good matchup, two good quarterbacks, and it did go over. Mississippi State, Arkansas was a beautiful over, and it went over. But that's what I pick up. Mississippi State wasn't a great over team early in the year. They were winning close games, and then all of a sudden they put up a bunch on Texas, and now they put up a bunch on Arkansas. Blake Shapen's getting in. They're getting maybe a guy healthy, and all of a sudden they're lighting it up. Okay, fine. So we'll take advantage of that. And that's what we learn, and that's why we keep it open, and that's why we win every year is that change. And hey, let's bet Mississippi State. Hey, look at Indiana. Let's bet them. That's really the key to it is finding the hot team. Duke, Georgia Tech, Virginia, Vandy, our Daggio. We found him at New Mexico State. So as you find these players, that's who you're betting on. Diago, they were down 30, I think it was 34-10. And they covered. They lost 34-31 because of Daggio. And then we had Duke beating Clemson. So you see Clemson's not that good. So you start learning the teams, but you got to keep open to what you're looking for. And that's what I look at. Anyway, I think that's it. Really strange. I had internet problems on the first try, so I had to reload. I kept the first one out because I did talk about certain things. Let's look at our gold and silver to end. And gold is gold's 4,006, so it's holding the 4,000. The low for the day is 39.95, so it's holding. The high for the day is 40.25. So we're not really sure why it's not going higher. Silver 48.22. We're not sure why it's down. It's got nothing to do with demand. Lines up. Australia's out of silver. Hong Kong or Singapore's 6 hours in line to get it, but it's down 50 cents for today. And that's the paper bullshit game. But you got to realize it's the paper game and it's bullshit. And you realize that demand is huge. So you go buy silver. It's much, much higher than 48.18. It's probably 400 or 500, as is gold, 4,007. We know it's 10,000, 20,000 easy. So you just keep buying it, and it's gone from 2 to 4, and it should be going from 4 to 6. We're kind of caught with these COMEX options, which BRICS is eating up alive. Where China is going to buy all the Caesars casinos. China's just loving the gold, and they can't find it. It's 4,007. China can't buy gold at 4,007. So that's why everybody goes to COMEX, and they probably let the price go is so they can buy it cheaper, because it definitely is. Anyway, that's it. So that's football for the day. The game tonight, Dallas against, who the fuck are they playing? Dallas is playing Arizona. You got Brissett against Dak. Dak with his 2 interceptions probably. I did play this game. And that's it. And then we got college tomorrow. Wednesday is the MAC. Let's everybody line up to bet that. The MAC's probably the worst conference this year. So anyway, have a good day. www.teaserking.com. Again, I will work with you on the payment if you're telling me the truth, not if you're buying Rolex watches saying, I don't have the money, I need a discount, but I'm going to run out and buy a Rolex. Don't do that to me. I'm the goose laying the golden egg. Don't kill the goose. Someone wise said that. I think it was wrong. All right. Have a good day, everybody. www.teaserking.com. All right. Take care. Buy your gold and silver as much as you can. as much of this as you can afford to pay, do it. You don't want to have any, you want to have very little of this left. All right. It's worthless. All right. Take care, everybody.